Hello, it's me again. Thankfully, it is now about 21 degrees, which is much better than 36, 37 that we've been having. And I get that, there are people all over the world who say, no, we get that all the time here. Yeah, but in England, we're not geared up for it at all. We have no aircon. We have, all the fans in the whole country have been sold. Ice is just non-existent. It's horrible. We cannot cope with extremes of weather at all. So yeah, I've basically spent the last 2 weeks sitting in front of my aircon machine, which is just, well, if I didn't have it, I would probably not be here now. I'd just be a puddle on the floor. So today is the first day for I don't know how many weeks without a fan on, without aircon on, being able to actually open a door or a window and go, oh look, it's colder outside than it is inside. That's good. That's normal. So yeah, I thought I would take advantage because I think the temperature's creeping up again next week. And yeah, it'll be more of the same again. Anyway, I was going to do you a vlog about keeping cool, but having done a little bit of research on it, all the things that I was going to recommend are all sold out everywhere, or they're not stocking them at the moment. So I'm actually going to leave getting cool until a bit later on in the year. Sounds ridiculous, but hopefully things that I'm kind of saying have worked for me, you might actually be able to get hold of ready for next year, because I think we're kidding ourselves if we think that this is a one-off. I think this is going to be more regular and more the rule than the exception, unfortunately, but that's the way it is. Anyway, enough about the weather. Yes, I'm English. Yes, I talk about the weather. That's what we do. Apart from that, I've had a couple of questions from people. The first one is a short one because I haven't actually got an answer for. I hope that somebody else has. Kate, one of my subscribers, asked me, how do you get your bottoms on, your underwear, your trousers or skirt, whatever, on when you can't weight bear? If anybody knows the answer to this, please let us know, because I don't know what it is. Short of, kind of laying in bed and being turned one way and then turned the next, and an awful lot of manhandling by at least one person, if not two. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And with the weather having been as it is, or as it has been, weight bearing even for a short while, just a couple of seconds, you're taking your life. Well, I'm taking my life in my hands every time I do it. And I did have a fall on Thursday, purely because I had to go out of my air-conditioned room and into another part of the house. So yeah, it's horrible. It's a real question. Does anybody know how, if you're using a wheelchair and you're not able to weight bear, you get your bottoms on? Yeah, if you've got an answer, let me know. Comment in bottom or comment in Facebook, wherever. Just let me know, because it would be really useful. Kate would like to know. I'd like to know. And I'm sure if there's two of us, there's probably going to be a lot more around. Anyway, that's the short question out of the way. The longer question was about my journey, if you like. my history with MS, which Sarah was asking about, on behalf of a friend who's got a friend who's just been diagnosed. The short caveat I'll put to this is my journey is as unique as everyone else's, but my MS certainly has not followed a pattern that anyone else I've spoken to so far, which ranges into the hundreds. Nobody else has said, oh yeah, that happened to me as well. So I will impart my information to you. If it's of any use to anyone, that's brilliant. That's the whole reason I'm doing this. So rewind back to 1992. No, we'll go back further than that. Let's go 91. 1991, 92, had a business with my partner that went to the wall. I don't know anybody who can remember that far back, but we did actually have a recession in the early 90s. And so lost the business, lost our house. So obviously no jobs, no home, mega stress. Then the following year, my dad died, having had a fatal heart attack at 49 with no existing health problems, didn't smoke, didn't drink very much, wasn't overweight. So I believe, the reason I'm telling you this, is not because I'm some weirdo who likes to share personal life stories with you, but because I believe that those events, those stressful events, brought on my first MS attack, which was in 93. So 91 we lost our house and the business. 92 I lost my dad. 93 I had my first attack. It started with, I was actually learning to drive at the time. Yes, I was a late starter, 23. And my leg was going numb, my foot was going numb, and I thought maybe I'm, holding myself tense while I'm driving or something. Anyway, you try and argue it away. It didn't go away, and then my knees would give way randomly, just once, just enough to sort of go, whoa, what was that about? Went back to my doctor and said, look, something going on. He said, oh, you probably trapped a nerve, or, the usual sort of things that people get told. And I went back again and said, no, seriously, something going on. He then sent me for an MRI. Back in the days when MRIs weren't in, an MRI scanner wasn't in a regular hospital, an NHS hospital, I had to go to a private hospital. And consequently, the waiting list for that was about 4 months, I think. Over that 4 months, things started to get worse. I seemed to have a little bit of every symptom under the sun, from wonky vision to my legs giving way, balance totally shot, lost the ability to write, butter toast, something that I do remember not being able to do, and lots of little things, but they were all they'd happen for a day and then they'd stop, or something would play up for a couple of hours and then it would be fine. So it was just like a short circuit, that sort of the wires were getting crossed and it was going zzz, and something wasn't working properly, and then the wire would reconnect where it was supposed to and it'd be fine again. So it was a real mindfuck, frankly, because I was trying to get a handle on all this really scary shit that was going on with me. And as soon as I started to think, oh, right, okay, that's a weird symptom, and I'd start to get to dealing with that symptom, it would stop and it would change and I'd get something else. So in those 4 months leading up to going into hospital was pretty terrifying, frankly. This was in the days before the internet, so I got out a medical encyclopedia that I had. I'd been signed off work, so I was sitting there going through this medical encyclopedia and checking it out and going, oh, interesting, MS, multiple sclerosis. I really struggle with saying that, so I would always say MS. But obviously at the time it was like, that's an odd thing, but the symptoms seem to marry up. So yeah, I went into hospital. They did the dreaded lumbar puncture, as a lot of people know about that. Once you've been diagnosed, you've had a lumbar puncture, and they're not very pleasant. So yeah, my lumbar puncture was slightly abnormal. They said I had slight white blood cells in the cerebral spinal fluid. But my brain scan, my MRI, came back normal. Whether it had anything to do with the fact that someone had taught me self-hypnosis and I actually was in hypnosis while I was in there because it was boring and dark and had nothing else to do, I don't know. But they only did a scan of my brain as well, not of my spine. As I say, we're talking 93, which as far as technology goes, is the Stone Age. So anyway, got through all of those, and they put me on a course of steroids, IV steroids, for 5 days, and had a visit from the registrar, and he said, right, well, we're not sure what's going on with you. I said, well, I think it's MS. And he said, could be, but at that time I'd only had one attack, and it seemed that they didn't diagnose multiple sclerosis unless you had multiple attacks or multiple lesions. Obviously my brain scanner hadn't shown any lesions, and I'd only had one attack, so they said, well, we can't diagnose you. And like I said, I was learning to drive, so I didn't actually want the diagnosis, because in my ignorance I thought, well, if I get diagnosed with that, I won't be able to drive and I won't be able to do this and all the rest of it. So I left it. Steroids got me back to 99% good, and I was fine. So that was 93. Obviously I'd read with relapsing remitting that, you'll have further attacks. I had nothing. 3 years down the line, I'd still had nothing. So I thought, well, maybe it was just one-off. Fell pregnant with my son, had my son, no problems. Okay, still going all right. Then in 99, I lost both my in-laws and I had a miscarriage. And surprise, surprise, in 2000, coincidentally, when I was pregnant with my daughter, things started going numb again. So I was like, here we go again. 2 stressful events. Following year, another attack. So I said, I had symptoms again while I was pregnant with my daughter. Obviously, by then I had found out a little bit more about it. And they said, after you've had a baby, that tends to be when you dip. When you're pregnant, you're better. When you have a baby, then your body kind of has another attack. Nope. Just no. For me, that wasn't the case. When I was pregnant, things were going numb. My legs were going numb. I had my daughter. Nothing got excessively worse. It was just from then a very gradual decline. And it happened that as my daughter gained mobility, I lost mobility. So you know, I could carry her up and down the stairs, but then it got to a point where I was like, nah, I'm going to go down on my bum because I don't want to risk falling while I'm holding her. And then she got, you know, to an age where she could go up and down the stairs herself, and I was on my bum next to her. So yeah, mine isn't a regular pattern. I think I had my official diagnosis in 2001. And at the time, I wasn't diagnosed with a particular type of MS. Would have been quite interesting actually to see what the neuro said, because if it's relapsing remitting, then it's one attack in 93, second attack in 2000, no remissions after 2000. So I kind of went with the idea that I was secondary progressive from 2001, and it's been a steady, slow decline since then. So that is kind of my story as far as, you know, sort of symptoms and how the disease has progressed with me. But I've never been on any disease-modifying drugs. I've only ever had that one course of steroids. I've tried to stay as healthy as I can by eating fairly well. Just because of the person I am, I've had a fairly positive outlook. And over the years, I've just learned different little ways of dealing with things, which has made my life easier. And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this vlog, because, you know, I sort of come across things and I think, well, I did that this way, or someone will see what I'm doing and they'll kind of go, that's a brilliant idea. So I think, well, you know, I just figured it worked. You know, a bit like the back scratcher rake to pick up or pull tablets towards me when I've dropped them on the floor. So yeah, very, well, nothing as far as DMDs are concerned. Obviously, back then there was, I think, 3 types. Now there's a lot more. There's a lot more meds out there for relapse and remitting, which, you know, if you think it's helping you, then great, go with that. Personally, with any sort of therapy or treatment or drug, I always kind of do the little ready reckoner in my head, and I kind of go, well, if it doesn't work, if it makes me worse, what have I got to lose? And having been a single mum since 2005, you know, it would have always been an awful lot to lose. And so there's not been many things that I've kind of said, oh yeah, I'll try that, I'll try this. I'm much keener on trying something that actually won't do me any harm if it doesn't work. Simply because, you know, that makes sense, doesn't it? So anyway, yeah, healthy eating, not smoking, drinking probably 1 year a week. I'm a real lightweight these days, you know. I used to be able to hold quite a lot of drink. Now I'm just sort of sniff of a cork and that's it. I've gone. Tried a bit of cannabis. That helped when I was at that particular stage of my life. I won't go into all of that now because it will just bore the pants off you. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, most of my most of my own therapy has been symptom management. You know, whether it's drugs for bladder spasms or, you know, I take vitamin D because there's been a lot of research about vitamin D helping the symptoms of MS, and you know, there's a whole thing about vitamin D. Also, I take calcium because now I'm not weight bearing very often. So my doctor actually thought it'd be a very good idea to take that to try and prevent any osteoporosis and stuff like that. So, you know, there are lots of things out there. Basically, if you want to know more, then mail me and ask a question, and I'll see what I can do as far as answering it. The big thing this last year has been mindfulness meditation. And I do about 20 minutes a day, I suppose. And I do find that it helps as far as just stilling the mind. You know, when you're at home, kids are grown up now, you know, my life is not full of busyness and got to get this done and got to get that done, and my head's full of, you know, a million things. My biggest problem is actually trying to shut my brain down, turn it off, don't overthink things, to enable me to kind of find some peace, whether it's peace to sleep or whether it's, you know, just calm moments. And funny, I should say the word calm. Nice link. I actually use an app called Calm, which is it suits me. You know, you can have lots of different music type backgrounds. You can do guided meditations. You can do your own open-ended meditations. So yeah, if you're interested, check it out. Might be something worth looking at. Yeah, and I mean, Chris, my friend Chris, is the CEO of Upbeat Life, and is also the mindfulness guru. You'll laugh when I say that to him, but you know, he's very good at being able to center himself and get where he needs to be, so that we can all kind of achieve a little bit of inner peace amongst all the chaos. Because if you're able to do that, then you're able to, you know, remain calm, and it's self-preservation really, because stress, definitely for me, you know, those two huge stressful events before each massive attack, to me, you know, stress is my biggest enemy. Maybe running a very, very joint first with weather, you know, the heat. So yeah, heat and stress, no, just no. And whilst we can't do anything about what the temperature is, we can do something about our own inner peace. So I think I'll shut up now because I've been going on for far too long. And yeah, let you take away what you will from this very weird, self-centered blog. But yeah, if you've got any questions and any answers, please shout and let us know what you know, what's going on in your world. Thanks a lot. See you later. Bye.